Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to show you how you can connect ChatGPT's custom GPTs with Zapier's brand new AI Actions. What this will allow you to do is connect to over 6,000 apps in your automation workflows that previously required you to do lots of coding. If you've tried to do this by yourself using Zapier's documentation, you may find yourself out of luck because it's full of issues and it's completely unclear. So I'm hoping by the end of this tutorial, you will have everything you need to understand exactly how to connect these two systems together and how it all works under the hood. Let's go. Okay, so the workflow we're going to be automating is checking your calendar for available time slots for a meeting and sending that via email to somebody you're trying to meet with. To get started, go to Zapier.com and create an account if you don't have one. They have a pretty generous free tier. From there, it'll take you to the dashboard where you can go to apps and you got to give permissions to the apps you want to use to take actions with. So in this case, Google Calendar and Gmail are my apps. And to do that, you simply click Add Connections and click your app and allow any permissions that it's asking for, of course, after reading what it is. Next, you're going to need to go to actions.zapier.com. And if you go to Test Actions and open the Action Setup window, you will be able to authorize Zapier itself to run AI actions. So you click Allow, and that'll take you to this page where you can set up your first AI actions. The actions we're interested in are find a calendar event and send email. So we're going to start with the calendar. So I'm going to search Google Calendar, find event, and I've already connected my account, and I will choose a specific calendar for this, and that's that one. And it's important to kind of look at all the options available to you. For example, we have search terms. So if you wanted to only look at coffee breaks for your meetings, you would include that here. But I'm actually going to select Have AI guess a value for this field. What this is you call this action with a natural language query, and it automatically fills these fields with the appropriate values. So I'm actually going to set Have AI guess a value for this field for pretty much all of these. And I will call this action find events from calendar. Okay. And this last option here, require a preview before running the action. In this case, we're just finding calendar events. We're not going to need a manual approval for that. So I'm going to leave that off and enable action. Next up, going to do the same thing for Gmail. Send an email. And here, the two subject and body, we're going to have AI guess. But this time, because we're sending an email, I'm actually going to require approval. So let's set that up and click enable action. Great, now your actions are set up. How do you use them? What is that natural language query I was talking about before? So for that, I'm going to come back to actions.zapier.com and go to test actions. Now you should see the actions available to you. So we're going to start by sending an email. To send an email, you need a couple things like the address, the subject line, and the body. And what we can do is use natural language in the instructions to fill those fields. Note that what you put in here is only what's required to fill in the parameters for that action. For example, here where I'm saying use hello as the body, I cannot say tell a joke because all it's using the instructions for is to fill a field. Now you also have these field hints. And by default, the hints are off, which means it'll use these instructions. But if you want, you can turn hints on and use specific values for one of these things. So for example, if I always wanted to CC someone on the email, I would write the address here, and whatever I had in the instructions about CC would get overridden and it would use this value. Hints is a little bit of a misnomer. This is really just override. Now we can see what this would look like by clicking preview. And we can see that the instructions did what they were supposed to do, and we got two subject and body just as we specified. Now let's click run, and we can see that it successfully sent the email. I'm going to go to the email address, born@mailinator, which is a throwaway email address, and see if it came through. It came through. Hello. Now all that's left to do is for ChatGPT to use these AI actions from Zapier to accomplish the task that you want it to do. So how does it do that? It calls two endpoints. One, to list the available actions that you have, and from that list, it chooses the right action and makes another API call to run that action. Let's see that in action. Now here we are in ChatGPT, and we want to create a GPT to talk to Zapier. So let's go to the Explorer tab here and create a GPT. And we're going to call this just a Zapier bot. I don't really care. Something for the description. And now we have to tell it how to talk to the Zapier AI Actions. To do that, we will create a new action here. And here, if you haven't seen my last video where I explain the Open API schema that goes here and what it does, I encourage you to do so. But here it's expecting the Open API schema that describes the two paths, the two endpoints I was talking about for Zapier. You can find that schema at this link. This is just a JSON representation that describes the two paths available, which gives you the list of available actions and run. So if I expand these, you can see there's all sorts of summaries and descriptions and hints that actually tells you what's going on here, so you can understand it too just by reading the JSON. In fact, those descriptions are exactly what ChatGPT uses to decide what tool to use when. But how does ChatGPT actually authorize against Zapier? Well, if we look down, we can see that there is this OAuth2 workflow. And if we just search for this access point OAuth, we can see that both of the endpoints have that security set. So we're going to do a quick refresher of OAuth2 so you understand what's happening behind the scenes. Okay, so you're Batman and you want to know when you're going to be free this week to watch my YouTube videos. So you talk to your GPT and you say, what's on my calendar next week? The GPT, because it has access to this schema and it has some instructions about how to use it, it will know that it has to first call the list available actions endpoint from Zapier. But as it looks at this and sees that OAuth2 security tag on that endpoint, it realizes that it has to authorize. So it sends an authorization request to Zapier, and Zapier sends back a login page to Batman, who will then log into his Zapier account to approve that action to be taken on his behalf. Then the Zapier and the GPT backend will do this dance to give the GPT backend an access token, which it can use to make those API calls going forward. All right, now let's teach our GPT how to use the Zapier actions. So we're in the configure section and we can click create new action and import from URL to import this Zapier Open API spec into ChatGPT. All right, once that's happened, we see that it now has those two actions, list available actions and run action. Now, when I click this test button here to list available actions, we should be met with this sign in request. So we can authorize ChatGPT to use Zapier on our behalf. I'm going to click sign in, and here we can see that it can run AI actions that we enable, and we're going to say allow. And here is where some of this integration is a little messed up, but we can go right back into the edit screen of our GPT, and we see that now it has a unique callback URL assigned to it. That callback URL is what receives that authorization code, which ChatGPT can then exchange for an access token. So let's look at those actions, and we can see that now the authentication has been set to OAuth, and all the key ingredients like the client ID, client secret that's necessary for that interaction to take place have been set. At this point, the only thing left to do is just teach the GPT how to use the APIs. Now, Zapier does provide some GPT instructions on their website, but in practice, I found this to be quite confusing and it actually didn't behave reliably, particularly when working with Google Calendar. So I thought I could improve on this and make it more reliable and more understandable. Back in ChatGPT, here are the instructions that we'll use. Starting from the top, your job is to fulfill the user's request by leveraging Zapier's AI actions. Then I provide a list of the AI actions, namely find events from calendar, which is what we named it previously, and Gmail sent email. Ignore the action rules for now, I'll come back to that. Then we provide instructions for how to use this thing. Step 1, if it's helpful to fulfilling the user's request, choose an item from the AI actions list above and mark it as a target action. Here, we're doing nothing more than aliasing that chosen action as target action. Then, if it's the first time using that action, list the user's available actions by calling the list available actions operation, and we're aliasing this as available actions. And then we want to check if the target action needed is in that list. And if it is, we continue to the next step. If it's not, we tell the user to configure it and let the chatbot know when it's done. In step 3, we want to extract the ID of that target action from the list of returned available actions, and we tell it how to do that using this JSON path, and we tell it to set the instructions field in the run action operation using that available action ID. I also found it necessary to tell the GPT that when it's providing the instructions, only provide what is necessary to fill the parameters for the AI action and nothing else. Because what I found it was doing is passing along my intent, which is not what we wanted to do. For example, when I said, what's on my calendar next week, it would pass that verbatim to the instructions, and Zapier AI Actions doesn't know what to do with those instructions. Lastly, we tell it to follow the action rules for that target action. And that's where these action rules that we skipped earlier come into play. This allows you to tell the GPT how to provide the instructions for each of those AI actions if it's available. In the Google Calendar case, I wanted to give the GPT the ability to calculate today's date because we often talk about dates in a relative format. The format of the AI action parameters is also very confusing. We have start time before, which is the end of the date range, and end time after, which is the beginning of the date range. This is confusing for humans, let alone AIs. That's why I felt it necessary to tell it that end time is always earlier than start time, and I had to give it a very specific format so it didn't get confused. Start time before equals some date time, and end time after equals some date time, and telling it that end time is earlier than start time when passing it to the Zapier AI Actions. Finally, we have this on errors block where you can do your error handling. Particularly, sometimes it lost track of the action ID, and I wanted to give it a way to automatically refresh the list of available actions here. Okay, let's try this out. All right, what events do I have between Wednesday and Friday this week? Only provide titles and dates. So we can see first, it's trying to calculate today and what the date range I'm asking for actually is. Then it's calling the list of available actions. And finally, it's running the action. And voila, there's our results. Now let's ask it to do what I promised, which is finding some available time slots for a meeting. Let's try to find 5 available time slots. It's interesting, it actually chose to use the code interpreter for that. And it looks like after 2 tries, it was actually able to do it. However, that's not exactly what I asked for. I'm gonna specifically ask for 5 one-hour time slots. All right, let's try again. And there we go, it looks like it succeeded this time. Now I wanna send this list of availability to Joe. We'll send this to Joe along with a friendly message. Now this time, it should try to get the Gmail app. So it's calling list available actions, but this time filtering to Gmail. And it's telling me that I need to check out the configuration page for this. So I'm gonna hop here and I see that I actually disabled it by accident. So I'm gonna enable it and say go. All right, this time it should call the available actions again. And there it is, this time it sees it. Finally, it wants to actually send the email. And the email availability has been sent successfully. Now let's check the mail. And there it is, available time slots for a call, and it's well formatted with a friendly message. So this worked when we did a whole bunch of setup initially to set up our AI actions in Zapier. But what if you're allowing anybody to use this GPT? You don't want to give them all these instructions to set up their AI actions in Zapier before they can start using it. You actually want to facilitate that setup through the usage of your GPT. Luckily, Zapier provides a way to dynamically set up these AI actions in the context of a chat. Let's see how that works. In order to set up these AI actions dynamically, Zapier gives us an endpoint to do that, and that is this one right here. Now, here you have 2 query parameters that you can set. One is the setup action query parameter, where you give it the name of the action, and the other one is the setup params query parameter, where you provide instructions on how to set the parameters for that particular app. So in our example, if we want to send an email with Gmail, we might use something like this, where we're saying the setup action is Gmail send email, and setup params is set BCC to admin at Mailinator. Now it's worth noting that, these should be URL encoded, but here we're just going to simplify it. All right, you see that it did the right things. It set the BCC to admin and Mailinator. So what we can do is we can put this inside of our prompt instructions for GPT to present this to us so we can set up the action in the context of a chat. Now it's worth noting that this setup action query parameter isn't actually required. So you could just do the setup action and it'll choose some sensible defaults for the setup parameters, but you should always check. So let's do this with the Google Calendar find event. We noticed that it actually picked the wrong app. So that can happen with these natural language APIs. And I'm actually not sure why Zapier didn't provide a structured way to do this. I really don't like how unreliable this is, but hopefully it's something that'll improve with time. So let me try that again. And this time I'm going to give it another hint. I'm going to say the app is Google Calendar and find event. So hopefully it chooses the right app instead of Zapier interfaces. And there you go. This time it worked. And you see, I didn't have to provide the setup parameters. All right, we're back again in the GPT's instructions, and we're gonna upgrade it a little bit. First, we're gonna add those action URLs to each AI action. For example, in the Gmail sent email, all we're gonna do is just give it the name of the action. That's all that's required, and the rest has sensible defaults where the AI tries to guess the fields. For the Google Calendar URL, I've provided the hint just like I showed you, and also provided this optional set of parameters where you can tell it how to set the various fields. In this case, I'm just saying have AI guess for the start and end time. Lastly, we're telling it how to use these URLs. So in step 2, if it can't find the target action in the list of available actions, instead of telling the user to go set it up and come back, we're just saying use the config URL in the target action and confirm when they're done, similar to before. That's it. Let's see it in action. All right, we're back in ChatGPT, and this time I'm not using the admin interface so you can see what the final thing might look like. I'm going to send myself a dad joke about AI. You can see it detected the right action, but it also called available actions and couldn't find it there, so it's passing me the config URL. As I press that, it brings me to the setup page, and I'm just going to enable the action. Going back to ChatGPT, I'll just say donezo, one final authorization, and looks like it worked. Let's check the mail. A funny AI dad joke. Why was the computer cold? Because it left its windows open. That's not really an AI joke, but I'll take it. If you've stuck with me so far, congratulations. You can now connect your GPTs to more than 6,000 apps in the Zapier ecosystem. As you can see, it's quite powerful, although it's still a little clunky in its early days. But I can't wait to see what you do with this newfound power. You can find all the prompts and assets used in this video in the description below. If you liked what you saw here and learned something, consider smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel. I'll be making many more videos about how you can use AI to improve your life. As always, stay curious, my friends.